Yo, what is going on, IK fam, BN? We are back again today for another dope sauce, dopey Infinity Kingdom video. Now, today is going to be pretty huge because they have finally brought back two, well, I should say brought back one and then introduced, but for two total of one Immortal, and then, of course, the new Holy Dragon Immortal. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to show you guys this, of course, and gals, because as you know, we're gender neutral here. Now, on the IK Facebook, you can see that they just announced, right, literally 13 minutes ago here from my time, right, or I guess 14 minutes ago, the Holy Immortal Theodora has landed in Thea's Roulette. Alright, servers that have been open for 30 days as of August 20th at reset can participate. The Empress of the Eastern Realm, right, it kind of goes into a little bit of her skills, right? You got this really kind of nice video here that they're just showing you her off a little bit. But now let's go ahead and dive into and show you where the access is. So again, right, this is an example for the account I have on 36. You can see here from Thea's Roulette that Theodora with the picture at the top. You can also see again her on the wheel, right, for 10 hits. Then you can see as you work up, right, as you spin multiple times, you'll notice that again, right, every spin you get kind of accumulates to these 900. It even says draws left today. And then you'll see, right, 10 frags each. There's 6 chests. It goes all the way up to here, right? That gets you 60 unless you're able to hit some of these Theodora frags earlier. Then, of course, right, there's a chance that you may not have to use this much. But what you have here at the 900 mark on this Thea's Roulette wheel, right, which again is only going to be open for the next 3 days, is the freaking Holy Dragon is finally being introduced into Infinity Kingdom. I mean, you boys, the hypes is realsies. Okay, so let's first start off with Theodora. So with Theodora, let's show you her skills. Again, Holy Backline Immortal, which is nice that they're introducing, right? And let's just give you guys an example, right? So for Holy right now, for what you can get, right? You got Gilgamesh that you can get for your other backline that would go with Theodora. Frontline, of course, would be Julius Caesar. And then you got Joan of Arc. Now, let's show you, hang on real quick, let me go here. Okay, so Joan of Arc, right? This would essentially be your March right now, right? If you're able to unlock Theodora, you could now technically run a 4 Immortal Holy March. Now, of course, if you want to get the 5th synergy piece, then you're going to need to unlock the Holy Dragon. Now, before we dive into the Holy Dragon, let's just briefly touch on Theodora a little bit more. So let's look at her active skill. Heals all allies HP. Recovery rate is 153 up to 300. Keep in mind, all allies. And dispels any continuous damage effects. If the target's HP is less than 50%, healing effect is increased by 100%, right? Meaning this could go up to 400%. The dispels any continuous damage effect, any damage over times, right? So like things like cleave, if you have like Herald skill, which I'll give you an example of as well. All right, so let's say we go, where's my boy Herald? So you go up here, right, where it says continuous damage rate, right? So he does suffocates, inflicts physical damage on them every 3 seconds for 6, right? This is an example of a DOT or damage over time skill. And again, any immortals that have those, right, Theodora would also dispel those, of course, if they're active and ongoing by the time her skill activates. So again, Theodora, really good, because again, if you think about right? So let's give an example here, right? Just to compare another healer so we can kind of put it into perspective. So heals all allies, right, for 300%, right, 400 again if their HP is less than 50. Now let's look at Xenobia, right, who is another healer. So restores HP to your 2 units with the highest troop number losses, and the 2 units will regain HP for 6 seconds with every successful hit with a normal attack. Right, so that means every successful normal attack that they do, right, it's going to restore it's going to restore the HP, right? So you got the recovery rate, and then you have the accuracy, right? So again, restores HP for 2 units with the highest troop number losses, and 2 units will regain HP for 6 seconds with every successful hit with a normal attack, right? So keep in mind, again, it is within that 6 seconds, but still. So again, this skill will heal 2 units up to 360%, right, that they'll be able to do. Again, that's the immediate restore. And then you have and the same units will also regain, right, so they'll get some recovery rate, right. So here on the accuracy recovery, you'll see that they're going to regain the HP. So it's like an initial HP, and then it's kind of like a life steal over time. But keep in mind, this is only for 2 units, right? Theodora does it for 4, and she dispels, right, any continuous damage effects. I would still argue that Theodora's skill is a little bit better than Xenobia's, though I do think Xenobia's skill could be used in certain situations in certain immortals. Like for example, I think one immortal that comes to mind that I think Xenobia would work really well with, right, would be another Earth immortal, being Alexander, right, because of the high attack speed that the skill activates for Alex. So again, something that could favor Xenobia if, again, he's able to be one of the 2 that gets the skill on him. The other one is going to be Wind, and that's if we go Montezuma. So Montezuma's skill is restores HP to your 2 units with the highest losses if the target's unit number is less than 30%. It will receive the recovery buff, regaining HP continuous recovery rate, 35% up to 70%. Right, so you get a direct recovery rate of 400%, and you get a continuous of 70. Again, it will receive the recovery buff, regaining HP every 3 seconds for 12 seconds. Now, you could almost make the argument that Montezuma's buff is actually on par with Xenobia's to an extent, right? Just because of the longer duration that you're going to get the continuous 70% at max level recovery rate over a period of time. In addition to the higher direct recovery rate that Montezuma is giving you over the 360% recovery rate that Xenobia is. Now, of course, we know that with the higher tier level of, and we can kind of give an example here, right? So if you look at like magic attack is 132, we can go here and you'll see magic attack 194.4. So interesting, right? We're both, oh, you know what? Here, let's do this. Watch. That's why I was going to say. I don't think I've upgraded anything. Okay, let's just double check and make sure we're on the same. So the only difference here is that I think there's just a second skill that's been upgraded. Okay, so now let's take a look. So magical attack 138.2 versus Xenobia's at 132.6. Okay, so you have about 5.6 magic attack higher on Montezuma over Xenobia, 38.3 on intelligence, and then you have 26.4, right? So again, you would have to wait to see what these Immortals are at level 40, right? Is Epic Immortals going to scale better going into the late game than than an Elite Immortal would? So again, that's something we'll have to see. But you can make the argument that the skills are close. With that being said, now let's take a look at the Holy Dragon that you can now get from Thea's Roulette, because that is by far probably the most important thing, along with, of course, Theodora being added. So Lucasta, right? Let's take a look now at the skills. Restores 45,000. It goes up to 1,080,000 HP to all your units and reduces the damage received by 2 of your units by 13.75%, upwards of 25% damage reduction. So not only do you get a all 4 unit heal, but you also get a damage reduction for 12 seconds. That's pretty nice. Now, the second skill, Judgment Roar, has a 49.5% chance, upward of 90% chance of inflicting disarm on 3 random enemy units, reducing the damage they deal by 35% for 12 seconds. So again, not bad. Third skill, which is the passive. In battle, all your Immortals get 12% crit, 12% dodge. We know this goes up to 30. Dodge rate. In addition, Holy Immortals have their skill damage increased by 8.25%. This goes up to 15%. So again, man, Holy Dragon all around is pretty solid. And again, you can even see the stats, right, are pretty consistent. 18, 18, 22, 22, right? It's not kind of, again, randomly on the board. You can even see 16, 16, 16, right? You can see here that you're at least getting, what is that, a plus 12 for a plus 16 just off the start when comparing it to Fire Dragon. So again, man, definitely interesting to see how Lucasta is going to play. I'm sure we're going to have some of our spenders in IK that are probably going to roll the 900. Now, I'm going to show you guys a quick little stat sheet that I took. And this stat sheet, I'm just going to bring this over. And let me show you this, actually. Let's go back to the wheel. Okay, so remember, for the wheel, you have to get up to 900 to get the Holy Dragon Egg. Now, if I did my numbers right, and let's say we go to the shop, you can see here, right, let's just go all the way over. You can see that, what is it here? Yeah, 70 tickets. If you spend $100, right, you get 70 tickets, okay? So let's go back to the wheel. You need, right, if you do times 10, and that puts you at 700 tickets, that's $1,000. Then, if you do 300 more of those, that'll put you at 910 tickets, right? Meaning that you're going to spend about $1,300. And again, this doesn't account for free spins, if you're using any green gems to purchase additional raffle tickets. This is just if you're only paying money. You're going to be at 911, right, if you count the free spin as well. 11 tickets, and it's going to cost you about $1,300 just to unlock the Holy Dragon at this point. You can most likely get Theodora for less than that, right? Just depending on how lucky you are in hitting a couple of these before you hit the milestones. But let's say that you do it halfway. Let's say you spend 200 tickets, you get 30 Theodoras, and within those 200 tickets, you hit Theodora 3 times on the wheel, right? You're still looking at about $300, maybe somewhere between $200 and $300, just to unlock Theodora, right? And that's probably at the high end, right? It might be lower than that. So just giving you guys some numbers on realistically what you would have to spend if you want to unlock. But I will say is a big win for adding in Theodora, finally adding in Holy Dragon as well, or I should say bringing back Theodora. So again, it's exciting to see these Immortals and the Dragon back in. The one thing I will say, and I think this is a little of what we've been seeing from the monthly event, when you look at Charles, Genghis, and Baldwin coming back, I would love for them to eventually add in some kind of an event where you have to spend green gems for your premium currency that will eventually allow for you to unlock some of the more gated immortals. And arguably maybe even some of the dragons down the road. At least the immortals to start out with, because I think that's something that every free-to-play player should have an opportunity to, at minimum, unlock. Right? Understanding that you're going to have to spend, probably a decent amount of your green gem currency. So it is somewhat comparable. But just knowing that if you grind and you save up, you would have the opportunity to. With that being said, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you like that we're finally seeing Theodora? Do you like that we can finally unlock the Holy Dragon, albeit the spending cap minimum that is needed? Right? What are your guys' thoughts? What do you even think about them adding in some kind of a future event that allows for every player to eventually unlock certain gated immortals, and again, maybe even some of the higher level dragons like Shadow and Holy. Right? Let me know anything and everything you guys are thinking in those comments below. That's it for me. I'm out. Until next time.